So, welcome to WRPL Whirlpool, All Things Consume. I'm Ben,
I'm Steven.
and we're just going to get into it. So, Steve, have you been watching or reading or playing or listening to anything today?
I have done nothing new except watch Suicide Squad. I continue to read the same book. I've continued to play. I've barely played Skyward Sword since the last time we talked. So, I'm listening and playing and all the same stuff. Just haven't gotten around to finishing it. It's been a busy week, so.
Okay. Alright, so we should probably get to the main topic on hand, which is James Gunn, The Suicide Squad.
No, I thought it was going to be geopolitical politics. All right, fine.
No,
I guess we'll talk about a movie.
Next week.
I
know.
Hot
Movies.
takes here at Whirlpool.
Alright, so this is not and is a sequel to the original Suicide Squad. There are returning characters and hints towards past escapades, but nothing is set in stone. And if you had never seen the first one, you would be perfectly fine watching this. So, general thoughts? What'd you think of this movie as a whole?
Certainly better than the first one. I thought that there was some jokes that I really enjoyed, and I thought it was, there's really great shots in this as well. It was fun, but as a whole, it wasn't as good as I expected it to be. I don't know really what I was expecting. I don't know if I was thinking, oh, this is going to be like Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1, just a ton of fun and brightly colored or whatever it was. So, just my general thoughts was good, but not as good as I was hoping for. And, I guess we could talk about more why, but I know you really loved it, didn't you?
I really love this movie. I didn't have a moment where I was bored. I'd say there's probably one scene that seems like maybe something a little more could have happened in it. But I love all the characters. I think the actors did a great job. It was just extremely fun. And I think all the comedy bits hit. There was no joke that made me groan or roll my eye. I think they really nailed this one. And I was worried it was going to be kind of ugly looking, because there was a lot of stuff in the trailers of the building crumbling and stuff, and everything looked kind of gray, but the characters would pop. But actually, this is a really pretty movie, a lot of good colors. I'd say the thing I didn't love the most would be the title cards. Integrated into fire and the soap on the toilet seat. I don't know if they just didn't fit for me. They just didn't work. I think they were creative.
Yeah.
But the only one I really liked was the junk, and it says Jotunheim, and then you move forward it, and it's all forced perspective, and it's just junk that was sticking up to make the word. I thought that was pretty good, but when it's Operation Save Harley and it blows away in the wind, I didn't love that stuff, but that's a very minor nitpick from me.
Yeah, I think that feels like that's something you saw in a comic book panel, so they're recreating for the movie, and I can respect that to some degree, but it also takes me out of the story, in any movie regardless, really. When something like that happens, there's a difference between just having 3 days later at the bottom in white font or whatever, versus something that alters the essence of the scene, which is, I've never really cared for that. So I agree with that. The scene I love the most, and talked with another friend of ours who said that he really loved it, was the rescuing Rick Flag scene.
Oh my god.
Fantastic.
Such a great spin on something. If you watch Predator, it's a bunch of bad mercenaries and they kill all the evil brown people of the island, and you think they're doing the good mission and stuff. But then when it turns out, no, these were freedom fighters, they were the good guys, and you just murdered all of them, is exceptionally funny.
Yeah. And that's funny on its own, but the best part of it, I thought, it's just the dumb competition between Bloodsport and Peacemaker. And of all the people in this movie, I thought King Shark was going to be the Groot of the thing, and everyone's just going oh, King Shark's the best. He's so adorable, even though he's freaking violent or whatever. But it's like, no, John Cena is the best part of this movie, which is like weird to say because like I have nothing against John Cena. He just I don't think has had a role where he's really like gotten to shine. You know, he had some funny bits in the Amy Schumer movie Trainwreck.
Yes,
but that was like a 3-minute bit or whatever. But he's so funny in this movie and pretty badass too. And I wasn't sure how I felt about his show or whatever that was going to come out. I try and reserve judgment until I see some stuff. But after watching this movie, I was like, okay, I'll definitely be interested to see where this character goes, because I like the idea of like I'm Captain America, but I'll kill men, women, and children, no problem if I have to.
All in the name of freedom.
But yeah, him like killing that guy with a compression bullet, and the dude's like, "Oh, you missed," and then dude explodes and like, "Yeah, I'm dope as fuck," and then Idris Elba's just kind of like, "Fuck, he's right."
Yeah,
like,
that's my favorite line. And like nobody likes a show off, and like unless what they're showing off is awesome as fuck, and then he turns around and has to just like kind of eat it and be like, "Yeah, he's right."
God damn it. Yeah, that was my favorite joke of the whole movie.
Yeah, it was very good because most of the time like you don't have the badass characters kind of like backing down from a fight, and it's like, no, he had to take that loss, and and I love when they're walking in and he has like an axe or a hammer and there's a guy sleeping and he's just like chopping him up. It's so brutal and it's so mean. And at first when I was watching, it's like, why isn't anybody like doing anything? No one has guns. No one's like on alert, and they're just strolling in to do it. And it's like, well, yeah, they're not the bad guys. They're just hanging out and camping.
Right. I guess we should jump back to the beginning.
Sure,
because that scene, I think the best thing that this movie did was like use this scene to set the tone of the movie and display its like comedy, its ridiculousness, its violence, and like, you know, captured, I think, what the Suicide Squad was meant to be. Because like in the first one, like no one really, like one character died kind of in the beginning and just like, oh, we're serious about that exploding head thing.
You know, that guy we introduced one scene ago?
Yeah.
Now you care.
Yeah. And then no one else died until like the very end of the movie.
Yeah.
Where like every character in this movie pretty much dies except for a select few.
Yeah. So, yeah, the beginning it starts with Amanda Waller recruiting Michael Rooker as Savant, who the only display of his powers we know is he bounces a ball off 4 walls to kill a bird. So it's like, oh, he's a tactician or whatever.
Really good at aiming plastic balls.
Sure. And recruits him with the rest of the team to go do a thing. And so we have Captain Boomerang, Weasel, Javelin, Rick Flag, Harley Quinn, Mongal, TDK, or the dismemberment kid?
Dislocating kid? Or we should take notes. The disconnected kid?
Whatever. Arm fall off boy.
Yeah.
Is that it? Is that all of them? And Blackguard.
Blackguard, yeah.
So they arrive at their destination after a couple of like, you know, get to know the character jokes of them on the flight over, which was all really good. I like the Harley kind of flirting with Javelin about accents, which is funny because, you know, obviously Harley does have an accent, you know, and that she isn't really actually American. You know, Margot Robbie's Australian. So yeah, they all have to jump out of the helicopter, and Weasel drowns because the bureaucrats didn't check to see if he could swim to shore, which is really funny. I like that it actually felt like a more of an organization this time instead of Amanda Waller doing an Amanda Waller thing. It was like, no, this is an established thing. You see the people working there like taking bets on who's gonna live, who's gonna die. So that stuff was really funny. Which
like makes you think like they're like these people who work for Amanda Waller's like whole job is to like keep making these Suicide Squads. Like it seems like this wasn't the first time they gathered this group. Like they've done this a bunch of times, but like previously were they gathering other, like is Amanda Waller's sole job recruiting superhero or not superhero but like
supervillains,
metahumans to do these jobs, or is it like, oh well, I was leading regular Navy SEALs on Black Ops stuff, and now we pivoted to metahumans.
Yeah, I'm sure this is a special project promotion.
Yeah, but I mean, if your missions are to like where you don't expect anyone to come back. Like having a Deadpool makes perfect sense.
Absolutely.
So that was a nice little add-on.
Yeah, now we don't really know when this takes place. You could say it takes place after Suicide Squad, since Task Force X, as they're known, is an established thing now. But also, when it comes to Harley Quinn, does this take place before or after Birds of Prey? Because they say they got her again, and at the end of Suicide Squad, Joker broke her out.
Mm-hmm.
So, did it happen like right after that, or is it, because we see her free at Birds of Prey, or did she get captured again? Birds of Prey isn't part of this universe, or it is, and she got picked up after she left her other team. I wasn't 100% sure.
My HBO kept freezing, so I never finished Birds of Prey.
Huh.
But I saw a thing where James Gunn came out and said, "This isn't a reboot. This isn't a sequel. It just is."
Mm.
And that's fine. So I'm going to attribute this that this is a separate universe where they can pull whatever continuity they want or change continuity however they want, and it just is. So I'm not really worried about the what's connected to what in terms, because like you said, like you don't need to watch anything else.
Mm-hmm.
Like this movie stands on its own.
And that makes sense, because Amanda Waller says to Bloodsport, or talks about Bloodsport, saying he put Superman in the ICU with a kryptonite bullet. If this is part of any sort of DCEU universe, like when the hell did that happen?
Mm-hmm.
Superman wasn't Superman all that long before he ate it. Did it happen after they defeated Steppenwolf and he was back and then got shot by him? So it's like, this is one of those lines that I feel they probably could have changed that to he put so-and-so, some other character in the ICU, but Superman, like, we've only seen so much of him in these movies that the timeline doesn't work, which just adds to it's not a sequel, it's not a continuing story and stuff like that. But it just seems like a weird line. It could have been changed to some other hero.
Yeah.
You could have said, put a bullet into Green Lantern, and people would just be like, oh my god, they mentioned Green Lantern, but, we haven't seen it, so who knows when that happened.
Well, what was I going to say? Oh, I find it funny that it's like you wanted Will Smith back. Will Smith couldn't do it or whatever reason,
Mm-hmm.
so you got Idris Elba to replace him. But then you're like, okay, well, in case we get Will Smith back in the future, we're not going to make him Deadshot, but we're going to make him a character with a cool helmet that shoots stuff.
Uh-huh.
And which is like kind of lame. The only reason I kind of like it is solely for the joke immediately afterwards, where they describe Peacemaker's backstory, which is the exact same story. And like even Bloodsport was just like, "Are you fucking
taking the piss out of me?
Yeah, are you messing with me, right? Like you literally just said my backstory like a minute ago, and this guy's got the same one."
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was a funny joke.
Yes.
But yeah,
Because I thought I was going crazy. I was like, wait, didn't she just say that exact same thing? And like, oh, okay, it's a payoff, set up and a payoff. Got it.
Yeah, and I imagine that kind of is like a nice nod to comic book backstories and just backstories in general. It's like there's no original backstory really anymore. It's just like they're all kind of one-note things. It's just like, yep, someone's parents died and trained by somebody, and now they're like the world's deadliest whatever.
Yeah. I figured with him being similar power set as Peacemaker and Deadshot, excuse me, that they would focus on his gun. Like, it just like seemed to be nanotech or whatever. He just slap something on and it turns into something else. That this was
It's made by Transformium.
Oh, that's right, Transformium. the most dumb element since Unobtainium. I say Transformium's worse. At least Unobtainium sounds kind of real.
Yeah.
Transformium is ridiculous.
It is called Transformium, right?
It is,
Okay.
yeah. Stupid Stanley Tucci. If it was like, oh, his body makes this stuff, or he designed the suit that can make it, it's just like, oh, he has this crazy gun that can do anything, but his power is he shoots real good.
I don't know if his gun has a name in the comics, or if that gun even exists in the comics.
Who knows?
But I think that's a missed opportunity to call that gun something real cool.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, nope, it's just a magic gun that
Just
he has.
gun. Yep. All right.
But anyway, yeah. So the beach scene.
Yeah. Back to the beach
Yeah.
scene.
So they, get on the beach. Blackguard walks out. He's like, "Hey guys, like I'm the one who called you." So like Blackguard set everybody up to, I guess, get free out of prison. They immediately shoot Blackguard in the face. I have no idea if Blackguard has powers from the comics or if he was just like a guy who was like in the military.
Yeah, I was really excited because I was like, Blackguard, I don't know this character. It'll be fun to see what he does. Because, like, you take someone like Javelin, and he has a big javelin. Oh, he throws a javelin. Got it. Yeah. I know everything I need to know about him. But, like, Blackguard, he's got a bunch of guns. Is he just another Deadshot? Is he just another Bloodsport? Or is there something more to him? Tough shit. You don't get to know. He doesn't have a face anymore.
Yeah, you want to find out, go look up Wikipedia.
Yeah.
So he dies immediately. And then basically just gunfire and rocket explosions all towards the beach, and some of the heroes I think maybe get a kill here and there, but they pretty much get wiped out pretty quick. You said Mongo, wasn't it?
Mongal. Yeah, she's the daughter of Mongol, who's like a space tyrant overlord who fought Superman, like this huge orange and pink guy. There's some good Justice League episodes with him.
Well, she was able to take down a helicopter, but catches fire in the process.
And finishes off Captain Boomerang, because he was already, like, riddled with, like, wood shrapnel.
Yeah, because the helicopter blades cut up the trees nearby, right? That just shot, which I thought was so cool.
Yeah.
And I had a feeling Boomerang was going to die, since I didn't see him a lot in the trailers. And it's like, it's cool that he came back. And we actually, like, in the first movie, like, I think he used a boomerang, but it was just a boomerang. Like, this one, it was like lighting up blue and like was cutting people's heads off and stuff.
Like, I think he throws his boomerang 4 times in the first Suicide Squad, and one of them is like, oh, there's a camera on this, so we can, spy around the corner. If you have a camera on a boomerang, it's going to be spinning around. Your camera's not going to be able to focus on anything. But he uses his boomerangs as like knives more than anything else. So it's nice to see him actually do something.
If only it was like the arrow that Yondu has. He just throws it and just keeps going around. Like, it could have taken out the whole crew, and they'd been like, cool. Well, that's why you bring me along, mate. That was my bad Australian accent.
Hey, you said mate, that's all that matters.
And, he could have been the main guy, but just takes out a couple dudes and then immediately dies.
I knew he was going to die. Same reason. Didn't get to see a lot of him in trailers and stuff like that. And it was going to be look who's coming back. You like this guy from the last movie, and we kill him instantly. Because if you kill off a bunch of no-name people, like Arm Fall Off Boy, or it's the Dismemberment Kid.
Sure.
Yeah. You kill him off. Most people don't know him, but I think Captain Boomerang, being one of the Flash's bigger villains, it adds a little more weight to what's going on. It would be like, you not to the extreme, but if you killed off Harley in that first scene, it'd be like, oh shit, the stakes are really high in this. I find it funny that, Captain Boomerang, he throws a metal thing and it whirls around, and he was also taken out by a whirling metal thing.
Oh, yeah.
It's kind of funny.
There you go.
Everybody else kind of just, like, Javelin, unfortunately, like, I really like that actor. He's really funny.
Yeah.
And he didn't even get to throw his fucking javelin. Not even once. Like, at least as he's going down, chuck it or something. But it's like, it makes sense because they need to give it to Harley.
It's weird that, like, how he has 2 lines in the whole movie, essentially. And he plays a very pivotal role, sort of.
Yeah. Well, his javelin is more of a character than he was.
Yeah. But it's just like, then becomes Harley's main thing throughout the movie. It's just like she has to have it with her pretty much at all times.
And that was also a really funny joke of like him dying and her not. It's like, I want you to, hold on to this and then die. And like, for what? And it's like, I kind of saw the joke coming, but it's played really well.
And I was listening to a podcast. The actor's name is Flula Borg. Yeah. He was on Conan O'Brien's podcast, which I do listen to. Listen to that. But he was talking about like how he like got in like superhero shape for this movie, and like I get like I don't know how much he made, but I imagine it was a solid amount. Like even if it was, I think the like union minimum or whatever is like $60,000. So if you got $60,000, like I'd get ripped for $60,000.
Sure.
So like it makes sense.
For my health? No. Money?
For my own human benefit? Yeah. But it's just like weird. It's like apparently this guy like worked out a ton to be in a movie for 4 minutes.
And wears a full body suit that you never see anything.
Yeah.
And I can understand.
They could have easily faked that.
Yeah. It's like, oh, we're going to have you do a lot of wire work. You have some hand-to-hand stuff, so we want you fit so you don't hurt yourself. Okay, I could kind of get that. Mm-hmm. But he doesn't do shit. He just gets riddled with bullets.
And he's actually, like, a quality comedian, too. Yeah. And, once again, he doesn't really get to shine in his comedy either.
Yeah.
It's weird.
I do wish that they were able to kind of storm the beach, take out the first set of guys. We get to see everybody in action, and we think, here we are, we're on the mission. And then when they get to the second location, then you could kill them off. Because it's like, they mentioned Mongal. Oh, she's an alien or something. I guess she's strong. Oh, well, she's dead. Oh, this guy's named Javelin. He's not going to even throw his javelin. Oh, this is Blackguard. What's his powers? Doesn't matter. He has no face.
Yeah, I guess it would have been cool to establish, like, these guys are the baddest of the bad. I mean, I know they're all, like, secondary villains, and they were chosen because they were, like, then you could throw them away, and you're never going to see them probably ever again.
Yeah.
Which is fine, but it's just, you could have just sent any team of people who, you could have sent any normal prisoners at that point, and it would have ended the exact same
way.
Yeah.
And I think it's kind of a shame that, like, we have this savant character that we see him pick off this bird just bouncing a ball. I thought he was going to be this great tactician, so he'd be like, Harley, you go up in that tree, and Mongal, you go to this side. And he would be guiding everybody, and they'd be successful. And you go, yes, this is why he's on there. He doesn't seem to have any other, like, actual laser shooty powers or anything like that. But then, no, he's just a chicken shit and tries to run away.
Yeah, and if I remember correctly, it kind of felt like as he was seeing, like, all this bad stuff happen, I thought it was going to be like, okay, this is the hero moment where he, you know, even if he, like, isn't a tactician or whatever, he just has some power, because once again, we haven't really established what his power was. And he, like, is played in the beginning as, like, this tough badass. And then when he becomes just a scaredy cat, like, I wasn't sure if that was supposed to be played off as funny, because it's just like, oh, look, this tough guy is actually, like, a wuss. But it didn't come off as funny, or it's just, it's like, oh, this is kind of sad.
Yeah.
And then he just gets his brains blown out or whatever.
I even thought they were going to do, like, when he's about to scream and run away, they would do the zoom into his eye, and he had, like, seen how it was all going to play out. Like, he can see into the future. Okay. And then he goes, like, everybody down. And then he kills Blackguard and be like, Blackguard sold us out. This is what we got to do. And then they go do the mission. And then something like that. But it's just like, well, what was the point of him? I know it's to establish everything, but it's just kind of disappointing to see some really interesting looking characters that we haven't seen before in any movie or even animated stuff, and they just don't get to do anything. So the only two that survive that scene is Rick Flag and Harley Quinn. They get separated. Rick Flag gets picked up by freedom fighters. Harley Quinn gets picked up by the bad guys. Where are they at? Corto Maltese.
Yeah, Corto. I apologize. That's not a real place, right?
No.
Okay.
I think it's supposed to be Venezuela, you know?
Okay.
It's like, but it's not a real place. And actually, in Tim Burton's Batman, that's a place Vicky Vale goes to. I saw a little trivia thing. She, like, throws down a Time magazine, like, oh, I took pictures, or I did interviews in Corto Maltese. So that's fun.
Fun, yeah.
So here's a question. They get separated, and the whole point was just to distract the army so the Team B can sneak in without being seen.
I guess you could call them Team B. I think they were Team A.
Team A, yes. Okay.
Team B were the people who did make it. Although you put, like, two people, I guess theoretically, the three people, if you include Boomerang, who, like, people have seen before. Like,
yes.
The connective tissue in the B team.
So that's my question. Amanda Waller knew Blackguard, sold him out. I think she mentioned something.
Oh, she did. I missed that part.
Or even if she didn't or whatever. She planned for these people to pretty much die because they were just the distraction. She did not care if any of these people really lived because she didn't tell Team A about them. So she was willing to, like, sacrifice Rick Flag, her, like, second in command, like, her dude. She was totally fine for this nothing of a side mission, just letting him die. She didn't know he was going to survive. And if she was willing to let him die, and it's like, I can understand sacrificing Harley Quinn. She's a loose cannon, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But after they find out that he's still alive, she sends Team A to go retrieve him. So if she didn't care if he lived or died, why even bother to go get him? It's not like he had intel or anything like that on the mission itself. He didn't know they were showing up because he was surprised to see Bloodsport there. So why would she even send them to retrieve him?
Yeah, I mean, if I remember correctly, well, one, I don't think they ever established how Blackguard got in contact with these people anyway, unless Amanda Waller gave him the ability to, for some reason.
Yeah.
Like, I get the, sending two teams
Mm-hmm.
and not telling them about each other.
Sure.
And, because in case one team I thought it was, I'm sending two, and then in case one runs into trouble, that'll be the I don't think that she expected all those people. But I might have missed that line of dialogue.
She had to have expected, because the whole point was to send the army on one side of the island so the others can get on from the clear side. So she had to have known a lot of people would show up.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I must have missed that part.
Okay.
I guess I'll have to watch it again.
Oh, shucks. And I think that was a missed opportunity of Flag realizing she sent him there to die, because if he was part of the first team, he would find out that the U.S. was part of the big evil plot, and he would release the drives and all that information, and that could be his sort of his driving force of well, fuck you. You sent me to purposely die. I know I'm expendable, but I don't have a bomb in my neck. I'm your team captain, and you are willing to just let me die because you knew I would be against this idea of the U.S. being a part of the big Starro plan.
Yeah, I mean, I guess a big part of the arc of Bloodsport was can this guy be a leader? And maybe her thinking was just all right, well, everyone else is dead. We'll get Rick. Go save Rick, because I know he can sort of keep the team in line and remind everybody hey, remember who you work for, this is the mission, that kind of thing. Because Bloodsport didn't want to be there at all and he was only there to save his daughter. Once again, the exact same thing
as Deadshot. Yeah.
I love Idris Elba. I think it's great in this movie, and Bloodsport's cool and all, but I just hate that it's the exact same character. It just feels like every sort of, if we can't afford Will Smith, we'll get Will Smith light. Not to say Idris Elba is less than Will Smith by any means, but I'm just saying I bet he doesn't cost as much as Will Smith. Sure. And it's just make him the same. Well, we have Will Smith at home. It's Idris Elba. Yeah. But I'm fine with coming home to Idris Elba. But I don't know. I just thought I just wish it was something else other than shooty guy. Yeah. But I get it.
So the next part is, we already talked about, Task Force X goes to save Rick Flag, kill a bunch of freedom fighters.
Decent human beings,
and then find Rick Flag and the leader of the freedom fighters, woman. I don't know her name. I don't know the character's name, but she reluctantly agrees to help them, even though they just murdered all of her friends, because their goals are pretty much the same. Yeah. If they take this down, hey, the government will be busy handling us, and you guys could take over your country or take back your country.
Yeah, and I get working with what you got, but at the same time, it's these 5 people killed 30 of my people, no problem. I guess they have skills that we could use.
Maybe we'll be more successful.
I can't imagine I imagine these people were her friends and neighbors and stuff, and she walks outside and was I got bigger fish to fry right now than caring about this guy just ate my friend. Whole. He's churning in his stomach right now. And it's just seeing your friends get shot, I'm sure they've been at war for a while, she's seen plenty of her friends die, this is nothing new, but I can't imagine any of them gotten eaten before. And I imagine that might be kind of jarring. Also, no, I know we live in a world of superheroes in this universe, but no one's freaked out that they see a giant shark man. They're just oh, another Tuesday in old Costa Rica. I know. What'd you say the name was?
Corto Maltese.
Corto Maltese. Yeah. But
yeah, that's but even Peacemaker, being a bad guy in bad guy prison, he saw King Shark and went, whoa, what the fuck is that?
Yeah.
So you would think normal human beings would also be like, what the fuck?
Yeah. I also like that they gave, in the beginning, they gave King Shark, like, prison suit orange pants. Mm-hmm. It's like, he's a giant shark person. Like, do you really need to identify him as an inmate? Like,
he's not a
he's
guard.
not walking. Yeah, he's not going to throw on a helmet and be like, I guess I'll get out of this one. It's like, why he's here.
Hey, he talked about he would wear a fake disguise, a fake mustache to get into the club. Maybe he tried it before, and they're like, put some pants on this dude. He's able to sneak out of this prison. He's a giant shark man. How are we falling for this?
And we never saw his prison cell, right? Like,
no, he was just out in the court.
Yeah, like, does he get like a normal human cell, or does he get like a tank?
Yeah, like Killer Croc got his own water tank, but King Shark may not need water.
Well,
so
clearly he doesn't.
Yeah.
But like, I imagine he
maybe won it.
Yeah. I mean, I know you don't really get what you want in prison, but
That's
like,
true.
Maybe through his biology, he benefits from it doesn't matter. We're getting off track.
Yeah, and it's not like he even has a thing where it's like, oh, we got to have him swim up the river to go do a thing. It's like,
yeah, his power is to be strong.
Be strong, take bullets, rip people in half. So then after this, they realize Harley Quinn is still alive, and they need to go rescue her. Cut to Harley Quinn getting the shit kicked out of her, hanging by chains, and the dumbest, like... Okay,
well, not even that. She is treated very well. And
well, no, not at first.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
That's right. After she kills the dude.
So, the leader of the bad guys, whose name doesn't matter, is
President Bad Guy.
President Bad Guy is, I'm a big fan of your work, and I want you to marry me, and we can rule this country together. And I get it. Like, you see Margot Robbie, and you're like, I'll keep that around.
Yeah.
Sure. Why
I'll deal
not?
with the crazy.
Yeah. The crazy hot scale exists, I guess. Sure. Even though she looks like a clown. An attractive clown, sure, but still a clown. You're like, I'm gonna marry this woman. And she's just like, okay, great. They have passionate sex across the entire room of his palace or whatever. And then just as he's like professing his love or whatever, well,
he's admitting that they're going to use the program at Jotunheim, whatever it's called, Jotunheim.
Sure.
And that sacrifices have to be made, and people who disagree with his actions get thrown in, and men, women, and children, doesn't matter. And she realizes, like, no, I get what you're trying to do, but those are fucking kids. That's not cool. And then she just shoots them.
Yeah.
Which is great.
Yeah, which I didn't see. I mean, I didn't expect this guy to live by any means, but I like how quick it was. Yeah. It was just like, they kind of pitched him as the main villain, the ringleader of like this whole thing, but just like, nope, immediately gets shot in the chest.
Mm-hmm. She has a nice little speech about like seeing red flags and
dating bad
guys.
Yeah.
So that was really nice. It was nice for her to have her little moment.
Yeah.
Then they capture her,
which I think is just funny. Like, I get, Mr. J is somebody special. That's like, you literally dated the worst person in human history. Like, there's no one worse than the Joker. Yeah. And like, this guy is just like, nah, this guy deserves to die. Yeah. It's like, you should have killed Joker a long time ago.
Hey, she's learning, she's growing.
Yeah.
Now she's seeing those flags early and just like taking care of it.
Yeah, it'd be. Speaking of red flags, it would make sense with the character. It'd be kind of funny though if like she started falling for Rick Flag, but then he like does something and it's like, oh, I should have saw the red flag. Your name is literally Flag.
Yeah.
That could have been fun too. Yeah. But anyway, Rick Flag's like the one decent human being in this movie.
Yes.
Anyway. And then
she gets captured and they're shocking her and she's just singing a song. And then they do the dumb goon thing where the person says like, oh, keep torturing her and I'll be back. And then one goon gets left alone. And then he turns his back on her, not a foot away. It's like, just take a couple of steps away before you check your phone or whatever the hell he was doing. Like, how dumb can you be? but she grabs him with her legs, chokes him out, unhooks her stuff with a key with her toes, which is all good stuff. Then she has a really great scene of she takes Javelin's javelin and just starts murdering people.
Yeah. I was watching a YouTube video. I guess it was sort of like a trailer or something for a Justice League, or the Suicide Squad versus the Justice League game or something. Yeah. And it was a fun little bit, and it was like, once again, Harley's got her bat, and she's like taking out these faceless aliens or whatever. And thinking about that in this movie, it's like, have we ever really established like why she's so good at hand-to-hand combat for like any reason? Like, not that it necessarily needs to be described or whatever. She can just a skill she had, but like before she met the Joker, for all we know about Harley Quinn's backstory, is like she was a psychiatrist. Like she went to college, and it's like, as far as I know, there's never been any reason why she's like so good at killing people.
Well, I'm sure she learned a lot from being with the Joker and like really kind of throwing yourself into a situation and just like being an agent of chaos that like, I may not survive this, so I'm just gonna run off a wall and cut some guys' throats. But I think she was a gymnast when she was younger, so that's why she's so athletic.
Okay. I mean, I can buy that she's like athletic and stuff, but I guess my experience with Harley Quinn has always been like from the animated series, which like she always had a big old hammer or whatever, but like she never fought anybody. It was always just like she would come up behind somebody and like knock him and then hit him in the back of the head or whatever. So it's just, I always find it interesting that she's a, kung fu master when it comes to stuff. It's like, it makes sense if she's good hand to hand that she's joined this team, but she also is just a human person. She doesn't have powers either. So
I see your point, but like, I get it.
Yeah, it doesn't take me out of the movie. It's just something I noticed today. I was just like, I wonder why she's so good at this.
So, speaking of Harley Quinn, I think this is the movie where Margot Robbie really nails the character. Like, she's done it enough times that she's kind of like lived in it, and not that other performances has been kind of bad, but she's a little, I don't want to say annoying, but like, she's a little much in Birds of Prey, and not as fun, not as funny, and just and it may have to do with the outfits too, because I hate her outfits in Birds of Prey. They're just awful looking, but it works for the character.
Sure.
It's just really ugly. But this time, I think she really kind of like, she knows who this character is, and not being the lead and not being the main plot point either. Yeah. She's really able to just kind of like relax and have fun, and she really shines in this.
She's definitely not like the star of the movie. I mean, she has plenty of screen time for sure. So I think you're right, because she's sort of takes a back seat a little bit, that like she's not too much.
Side note for Harley Quinn, do you know who they initially wanted for the first Suicide Squad as Harley Quinn?
Will Smith.
Yes. He was going to do dual roles. He was actually going to do whiteface for it.
Ooh.
Yeah, disgusting.
I assumed it was going to be like a Eddie Murphy type of Meet the Clumps kind of thing,
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. It's going to be like Dave Chappelle doing his white news anchor, but it's Will Smith.
Just Will Smith playing the entire Suicide Squad.
I want to see someone who can do a really good Will Smith impersonation. Do Will Smith playing Harley Quinn. I want to hear what...
I'll contact Jay Farrow.
Okay, thank you. No, they wanted Emma Roberts, who I think I can see her in the outfit, especially the old animated series outfit. I could see her doing it. I could see her doing the voice, but I definitely don't think it's nearly as good as Margot Robbie.
Nah, I mean, I feel like Emma Roberts is like 3'7".
Yes.
So I feel like it'd be hard to have her be intimidating to...
Sure.
But
I think they can play that up and like, oh, this small little girl, we will kill her. And then it's just like...
What country is that?
All. Just
all but America, since we don't have accents.
We don't have them.
Yeah.
So, yeah, she breaks out. The team grabs her up, and they decide, oh, actually, we missed a scene. The scene that I think kind of is the only drag part. After they... rescue Rick Flag, they need to go get the Thinker, and he visits a bar, and so they have to try to blend in at the bar, and King Shark does his fake mustache joke, and then they leave him in the van. I totally expected him to like bust in with like a mop for a wig or something and like try to be like, oh look, see,
I should have just had like the Raphael get up from the first Ninja Turtles movie of just the trench coat and the hat. Yeah. It was like, they'll definitely not notice my face at all.
But
some kind of punker. King Shark. I hate punkers.
But it was sad just seeing him sit in the van all by himself. Like, I expected him to be like, oh, this is enough of this and go in. But it's like, no, he just
try to save that CGI money.
Yeah.
Although it would, like, with everyone celebrating having fun, it would have been kind of funny, I think, to see, like, King Shark on the dance floor.
Yes.
You know, just, you know, women crawling all over him, and he, like, maybe tries to eat one. They're like, hey, no.
It was just a kiss. or that could have been a, like, oh hey, the guards coming in, they're checking everybody, and they're gonna go like get arrested, and King Shark busts in, and kind of that's
right,
sets the action going. But they
or just, like he pitches the like disguise thing, and then they bust in, and then you just see his like finger slowly move up to his mouth.
Very good. But they take the thinker and go. That scene is my only like sort of a drag. There's one part where one character who we haven't even talked about, I know we haven't talked about Ratcatcher either, but Polka Dot Man, he is a little crazy and he sees everybody as his mom, and that's how he's able to fight because he hates his mom for doing experiments on him. So he's dancing on the dance floor and it spins around and everybody turns into his mom. Really funny. And they do that bit earlier where he sees the whole team as his mom. Yeah. And so you're seeing like this overweight lady being Peacemaker and King Shark, and it's a really funny visual, and it pays off at the very end. But it's just like the best scene of Suicide Squad was them in a bar talking and just kind of, you know, shooting the shit. And I kind of wish they had that, especially since like Rick Flag and Bloodsport have a past, and a little bit of more camaraderie would have been fun, and then you know, because they do a little bit of exposition in the van of like who Ratcatcher is, and you know why Bloodsport is afraid of rats. But I just think them kind of having fun could have been a nice bit. Yeah,
like a real team bonding moment.
Yes,
but I mean, you never really got that in this until, I mean, I guess the van scene where like Idris Elba kind of bonds with Ratcatcher, but like no one else on the team really. I mean, they all have like little moments with each other, but there's no like, now we're a team thing until I guess kind of the end.
Yeah.
But that's out of more necessity, not because they like. I feel like they have actually like learned to care about each other by any means.
Yeah. So before we get towards the last third of the movie, though, or the final major action set pieces and stuff, because once they get the thinker and they find the plan, it's really all break into this thing, kill the monster.
Yeah.
We haven't talked about Ratcatcher 2. She is definitely the heart of this movie.
For sure.
She's not a supervillain. You know, she just got in trouble robbing a bank with rats. She has the power to control rats, and she has a little buddy rat that has like a little backpack on. Do you remember the rat's name?
God. It's something like Sebastian.
Sebastian
is what it is, yeah.
And he's just like adorable, like all, you know, animated animals are. And he keeps trying to bond with Bloodsport because he sees good in him, even though Bloodsport is afraid of rats. And the little scene of him like trying to give him a leaf, and Bloodsport is like, why do I want a leaf?
What the fuck am I going to do with a leaf?
That's a really good line too. And I just like that when they get to the bar, even Peacemaker is just like, hey, you forgot the rat, and like they're all drinking, and the waitress, you know, brings him a shot.
Yeah.
It's good stuff, and it's like I wish there was just a little bit more of that.
Yeah.
But do you have anything to say about Ratcatcher, really? Ratcatcher 2, I should say.
Yeah, I mean, I like that character, and you know what she does in the end. I like had a feeling like she'd be the one to really like save the day.
Yeah.
I thought that. Well, we'll get to it later, but yeah, I thought the actress did a pretty good job, and I liked that I didn't notice her dad was Taika Waititi, like in the first flashback, because it was kind of like you saw her dad, like you saw his face, but it was kind of like a distance thing, and then once it like had a scene later where it was like, oh, clearly him, I was like, oh, that's kind of cool that they brought him in. It was weird that her dad, I think, clearly had a New Zealand accent, and she has like a Spanish accent or whatever. But
you don't know who her mom is.
Yeah, nitpicking. It doesn't matter. She grew up wherever. But I don't know why she. I mean, I know you're like surrounded by rats and rats are your friends, but like, why does she have to be like dirty all the time? It's like, and that's not like a women can't be. Women must be like beautiful. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm just saying like, does she have to like smell and look like a rat at all times too?
Maybe it doesn't hurt, but I would say it's her life of living on the streets. It probably is just ingrained. Like hygiene wasn't a big focus.
Sure, I mean it makes a more visually interesting looking character. I get behind that. It's just like, you can be into rats and look like a normal human. Is all I'm saying. But that's not important at all. I'm just like curious.
Yeah.
But yeah, her like being the heart of the movie was fine. I don't think she like. I don't think any character really in this blew me away in terms of like emotional arc or character growth or anything. There wasn't some like big moment in the movie that like made me want to cry. And like I think James Gunn is good at like making moments that like connect with me more than I think they're going to. I don't think there was anything like that. Like Idris Elba's daughter, seeing her at the end going like, "That's my dad." I didn't really care for that at all. I really buy that much. It's like, oh, he did like, yeah, he saved the day, but at the same time, it's like
still a bad dude.
Still
doesn't give a shit about you.
It's like the last time you saw him, you guys just had a yelling match where it's like, I hate you. It's like I get like, okay, yeah, he did a good thing, but it's like I don't know. It just all felt a little thin to me. That's why like I was just hoping that there would be like one action set piece. I was just like, oh man, this is awesome, or because. Like I said, every James Gunn movie I've seen, like there's always been like really great stuff in it, and this is a very much a James Gunn movie in terms of like it's wild and funny and like really well put together. But there just wasn't like one. It was just missing something for me. I don't know what more I wanted. I think it was just like it was almost there. It could have been great. It was just for me pretty good.
Okay, all right. So yeah.
Final act.
They arrive at the place to kill the bad guy. We haven't even really talked about the bad guy, but it's a giant alien starfish that breeds other starfish. Once it gets on your face, you're part of his hive mind.
Hive mind, yeah.
And so a couple things about him. One thing I like, if you got one on you, you were done. There was no like peeling it off and saving you. Yeah. So that's kind of interesting. I'm very surprised that they didn't do oh no, one got on Bloodsport, how are we supposed to kill our friend? Something like that, but they didn't. And I also like that the bad guy was killable. Not like he was bulletproof and
we'll get to that in a second.
Sure. And that like you could actually kill him. He wasn't, oh, you can't touch him because hallucinations or acid or anything like that. It was just big monster. And I like that. It was as simple as that. Big monster can control you. It was nice.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm surprised they didn't do more with the humans. I thought like there's going to be like a big moment where they have to like fight a bunch of them, and like Bloodsport fights some of them, but they never seemed like super aggressive. They were just kind of like walking zombies. Yeah. They were zombies essentially. Yeah. But I thought the big hero moment for Ratcatcher was going to be like, oh, how do we save all these people, or like how do we stop all these at once? And she gets the rats, and the rats like get on their face and like eat them away,
sure.
Which they never really did. It was just like the rats come, sort of like knock everybody over, and then they crawl on. But like my problem with Starro, at least in terms of like how they fought him, is just like, okay, you have Idris Elba coming out shooting guns at him, and like we've seen every kaiju movie, big monster movie, where like you send in helicopters and jets and tanks, and they're just shooting, blowing this guy all to bits and pieces. Can't damage him at all because they're just alien skin is too hard for our human weapons, or our like bullets are too small. Whatever. It just seems to like annoy them. And then Harley Quinn comes up with a pointy thing and goes straight through him like it was
went into the eye though. That's the soft part.
Yes. But like they shot a bunch of stuff at his soul. It's like and maybe nothing actually hit his eye, but like there's no way you're telling me that any of these people Like, I buy that Bloodsport has never played a video game, but, like, you see someone's eyeball, it's just common sense. It's like, it's a giant fucking center. It makes up 50% of this guy. Yeah. And no one just goes for the eye right away. Or, like, I could buy that, like, the bullets wouldn't go through his eye or whatever, just because, like, I don't know, it's an alien eye, strong, or whatever. Yeah. But it's just like, but she comes up with a pointy stick and goes through him like he's butter. Okay. And just like, you're telling me that he would have been the easiest monster in history to take down. And I guess they kind of, in a sense, do easily take him down. Yeah. But it still seemed like the answer was so simple, but no one got it.
I mean, if Superman was there, yeah, not a problem. He would fly right through the eye, no biggie. If they had a tactical airstrike, it probably would have killed him. But they were just people on the ground with guns. And if they had all the time in the world and a quadrillion bullets, they probably would have eventually killed him.
They had the evil army there who did, like, shoot a bunch of stuff at him, and he just, like, kicked them all away, right? Or am I remembering that wrong?
Yeah, no, you're remembering right, but it's like they shoot, and then he kills them. If you had all the bullets in the world, and you can keep shooting at Starro and not get killed, you probably would eventually kill him. Just like the rats that kill him, they're only biting off little bits of him and eating him. A little bit at a time is enough to kill him. So if you kept shooting him, enough bullets would enter him, and eventually you would start killing him. They just didn't have enough bullets and enough people to shoot them.
I just think that's real thin. It's just... Because, like, you establish that, like, damage could be done when you had King Shark, like, literally bite. But that's also a super-powered thing that's essentially, like, the Hulk of the group. Like, his thing is, I'm strong, or whatever. And then he's tossed away instantly. But then you also... So, like, every one of those shots that Bloodsport hit him with, theoretically, like, did some damage, took some chunks off. But he never really saw that. And it's just, like, my whole thing is just, like, she just had a pointy stick and went... And, like, she...
But that didn't kill him.
I understand
She just got in the eye.
Yeah, but I feel like once she was in, like, going through his... It's not like like, the thing was practically like, flapping open. That's how all the rats got in. And those rats can hold their breath, like...
Rats can do that, yeah.
Which is crazy to me that they can just fucking...
Rats are resilient.
Yeah. And I mean, I like that the rats are the ones who, like, took him down and stuff. I can't imagine jumping into an eyeball and just swimming in the alien goo with my eyes open and just, like... being in the blood of it as, like, the rats are eating it from the inside. Yeah. Once again, that's just, like, physic nitpick I have. I just find it interesting. Like, it's just like, oh, no, like, bullets can't stop it, but a pointy spear can. But maybe that spear is made from alien material, too.
We know
maybe it's a magic spear. I know nothing about javelin.
Yeah.
Who cares? Whatever. Once again, I'm just being nitpicky. It didn't take me out of the movie by any means. And I drew a star last time on my notes.
Oh!
It kind of looks like Starro. But, anyway.
So, yeah,
sorry, do you know anything about Starro's, like, backstory in terms of the comics? He's Starro the Conqueror, but, like...
It's an alien thing. Stars go on your face. In the comics, I know, like, you can get it off and you'll survive. There's some Justice League episodes. I think it's, like, Mongol actually puts Starro on Superman and Wonder Woman, and he makes them think each one is a monster. So, like, Superman's just like, Wonder Woman, where'd you go? Help me, there's a monster! And the monster's there, and he punches Wonder Woman, and Wonder Woman goes like, Superman, where'd you go? There's a monster here! So they're beating each other up, and then eventually, like, Superman has to, like, do a hand gesture or something to show, like, I'm okay, and she's like, wait a second. Why is that monster doing the thing that Superman does? Wait a minute, it is Superman! And they take him off. But I know Starro was the first villain the Justice League fought.
Oh, really?
Yeah, when they teamed up, that was the big thing. But yeah, it's just an alien parasite thing. Nothing. I mean, I'm sure he has a very rich backstory. I was never a DC guy, so I don't know much about him.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
So yeah, they got to get into a building. They got the Thinker. He's a nothing character who gets ripped in half. Who cares? And we learned that the U.S. was a part of bringing Starro to Earth and doing all these atrocities with it. So Rick Flag is like, I'm going to have to leak this information. And then heel turn, Peacemaker's like, nope, I have a second mission. Amanda Waller told me to make sure that stuff does not get out. And so now I have to kill you. So they fight. And they have a pretty good fight. But then he gets stabbed in the heart. Rick Flag gets stabbed by a piece of, like, bathroom tile or something right in the heart. which is funny because he was dating Enchantress, and her weakness was getting stabbed in the heart.
Oh,
Isn't that a thing?
Look at that.
Yeah, I wonder where she is. Like, she's waiting at home, just like, I'm so glad I'm not the Enchantress anymore, and I can have my normal life with my wonderful husband. It's like, sorry, he also got stabbed in the heart.
Yeah, you would think Rick Flag wouldn't be on any more missions after, like...
You would think.
But once again, this is a universe where maybe that mission never actually happened.
Exactly.
So
Rick Flag dies. I read a thing that was kind of funny. It's just, he says, Peacemaker, what a joke. Mm-hmm. And Peacemaker was the basis for the comedian in Watchmen. You know, Alan Moore wanted to use, like, real characters and do a dark, gritty version, but DC was like, no, you can't. So that's why he created all of his own people. Mm-hmm. And comedian, he wanted to use Peacemaker before, but he couldn't. So then he makes comedian, and what a joke, haha. I don't know if that was an intentional thing or more of a, like, spit in your face, like, you think you're doing all this stuff for good, but you're just a monster.
Yeah. The real peacemakers are the friends we make along the way.
So there's been a character with them the whole time named Milton. He's just a freedom fighter. He drives the van. I don't think he has a single line. They're planting bombs in a building, and he gets shot down. And Polka Dot Man is very upset and is the only one that even realized that he was there the whole time. Some funny bits. And then he accidentally sets off the bombs, and the whole thing starts coming down. Want to talk about Polka Dot Man one more time. I think he's one of my favorites in the movie. He's fun. He's different than everybody else. But I think his powers are wasted. And I'm pretty sure in the comics, like, he can throw a polka dot down and, like, reach in and pull something out, or it would be like he could throw one by you and then punch through one and his fist would come out that. Yeah. So it'd be all these, like, little teleporty things, or, like, he could throw one and, you know, fire would shoot out of it. This, it's just like a disintegrate. Polka dots are disintegrating.
Yeah, it's like acid.
Yeah, and that's all it is, and it seemed like such a wasted opportunity to have a fun fight scene of him, like, splash a room full of polka dots, and all the guards are just kind of like, what the hell is going on? And he's jumping through them and punching people and pushing them in one, and then they fall from the ceiling.
Yeah, and that's kind of like one of the reasons, like, why this movie didn't, like, become like an A for me, is just because I feel like there was missed opportunities for fun. Like, that would have been like the Quicksilver scene of this movie if you had something where it's just like, oh, we're surrounded, how are we gonna get out of this one? And then, you know, here comes Polka Dot Man with all these, like, cool powers that we haven't seen before, which would have been a lot of fun. And like, you could even do the thing where, like, you could still have Ratcatcher, like, be a big finale thing where, like, she chews off the faces of the thing and, like, saves, you know, thousands of lives or whatever. And I thought, oh, this could have been the thing, like, Harley Quinn throws the spear, the eye opens, Polka Dot Man jumps in, sacrifices himself, and then, like, you see this beautiful shot of, like, all these polka dots expelling from him and, like, killing the monster from the inside.
That would be cool.
And he's like, and it would have been like, I'm a superhero, and then he dies. And so you could have had, like, this beautiful moment where he kills his mom, because the whole thing is just like, here's his mom, and, like, the only thing he does to his mom is, like, singes her foot, and then he immediately dies. Like, you could have really made Polka Dot Man, especially if you're going to kill him off, like, make him, like, this sacrificial hero. And I know the kind of, like, the point is, like, they're not heroes, they're bad people. Like, they are the Suicide Squad. They're gonna die.
But he was going into this wanting to die.
Yeah.
And now he, like, look, I can use the thing that has been my curse to do something that's good.
Yeah. And I think that could have been a really cool ending. And you still would have paid off with the rats and stuff. But we got what we got.
Yeah.
So I think there's, like, a lot of great stuff about Polka Dot Man and King Shark and, like, all these other new characters, and I was waiting for, like, one to really, like, steal the show, and I don't think anyone really did except for John Cena's Peacemaker.
Okay.
And it's like, his powers weren't exciting, he was just a shooty guy.
Yeah.
And it's like, there were so many cool characters in this movie, but the one that stood out was Peacemaker for me. So. And
when you have someone like Bloodsport that is a really good shooty guy, if they didn't do the...
I love that that's the official terminology.
Shooty guy.
Shooty guy, yeah.
Absolutely. Instead of having, like, Ratcatcher get all the stars off people's face with rats, like, like she could be doing that, but it's like I thought he was going to be shooting them off their face. Like he's such a good shot, he's able to like hit them and kill the monster without hurting the host, and that would be like, oh look, he could have just shot them all in the face, but no, he actually was saving these people. I thought they were going to do something like that, but they did not. King Shark doesn't do a whole lot.
No,
he fights these little fish monster things, which just almost seemed like a scene put in because he didn't have anything to do.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, let's give him a little funny scene to make friends, and then they just like start chewing the shit out of
yeah.
him.
I mean, I like the idea of like, classic Jaws shot, coming out blood in the water and everything, and then here's something that makes a shark bleed in the water. It's like, oh, these things are the things that kill King Shark, is these little fish.
Yeah,
monsters.
I was worried for him. I thought he was
with the amount of blood in the water, I was like, oh, okay, King Shark.
And then he falls from such a high, and he gets shot a bunch.
And he gets thrown through a building, and he just walks out, and he's a little more cut up, but he's fine.
Yeah.
And I mean, I suspected he was gonna live from the beginning, unless they did like a Groot's, like he sacrificed. It's like, oh, I have friends now, and then dies because of it. But I had a feeling he was gonna live because I thought like, oh, he's gonna be the one that they sell toys off of. Like he's gonna be the one that people find cute and want to keep around for possible sequels.
I hope he shows up in Aquaman too. That'd be fun.
Yeah.
As good guy, bad guy, I don't care. Could it be sidekick? Whatever.
By the way, I don't know if you noticed this or if it was just my brain, but in the club scene, there's like a dancer. Is that
Palm Clementif?
Okay, because I looked it up on IMDb to see, and she's not in the credits. And I thought like, oh, it was just gonna be like an uncredited role, and I couldn't find any proof that it was her. But I was like, I'm pretty sure that's her.
Yeah, James Gunn did say that there will be a Guardian cameo, and that is it.
Okay, that's who I thought it was, but I couldn't find anywhere on the internet.
There's also another cameo in that scene that is a blink and you miss it, who also makes a cameo in Guardians of the Galaxy 1. Did you catch it?
I did not. Please tell me.
It's Lloyd Kaufman. Do you know who that is?
Not off the top of my head.
He is the head of Trauma. And James Gunn wrote and directed some Trauma films like Tromeo and Juliet and Terra Firma, and wrote some. Those are the two he directed. Then he wrote some others. Lloyd Kaufman was in the prison scene in Guardians of the Galaxy when everyone's just kind of like walking into the prison for the first time. He's just this little old man just yelling at him. And so in this, it's just like they walk into the bar and he like gets pushed out of the way. It's literally like a second. I happened to catch him. Felt pretty proud of that one. But I also did notice Palm Clementif as well, and it was just like, oh, that's interesting. I wonder if that's going to have anything to do with anything. Nope. we just need a exotic girl dancing in front of everyone.
I wish I was friends with a famous director who would just put me in stuff for like nothing.
A professional extra sounds like the greatest job. If you are like live close enough to a place where they shoot enough movies that you can just be an extra and everything, that sounds great.
Or like being a director's lucky charm, like Nathan Fillion's and Michael Rooker's and everything James Gunn does. Or what's the actor's name? Greg Grunberg or whatever is in every J.J. Abrams movie. It's like no one knows who Greg Grunberg is except for like nerds like us. It's like and J.J. Abrams is making like every huge movie, so that guy's getting checks for the rest of his life just because he's buddies with this guy. He doesn't have to be like it's not even a big star, but he's set.
And it's like,
I imagine.
I was in Lost. Like, really? You were in Lost? Like, yeah, I was the pilot that got killed by the smoke monster.
I was the pilot in the pilot.
In the first episode. And it's like, even if that's a nothing role and you make no money off of that, like, that's a iconic thing that happened in that show. It was the first time you saw the smoke monster. And it's like, what a crazy thing. Yeah. That sounds like a fun gig.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and then they save the day. They make a deal with Amanda Waller that they won't release the information as long as they could go free and not have their heads blown off, and she agrees. And I kind of love that ending because in a normal Hollywood movie they'd be like, no, she has to go down for her evil ways and they have to release this information.
But they're the bad guys.
And it's just like, no, we're gonna just make a deal. And it's like, yeah, Ratcatcher 2 doesn't agree with it, but it's like, hey, at least we get to live. And I really enjoyed that.
And if I was these people in general, like, and someone's like, oh, we'll take years off your sentence, it's like, well, you're probably going to do it anyway for the hopes, but it's like, there's nothing, I would think that the second my mission's done, this chick's blowing my head off anyway. And I can't remember if maybe they, like, made some argument as to why she wouldn't do that in the first movie. I don't think they did, but it's just like, I don't think I'm going to live
I think
anywhere.
They turned it off somehow. Somehow she goes to like blow someone's head and it doesn't work. Like they turned the key and turned off the transmitter or something.
Right. But I did like that her team had a conscience and like they knocked her out. Yeah. I thought that was a cool thing that you like. Henchmen just blindly do what the bad guy said. Not that necessarily she's a bad guy. She's an anti-hero, I guess. But I like that her team was just like, no, fuck this chick. Like, these people are trying to save other human lives. Like, isn't the point of these missions is to save people? Mm-hmm. But to know, like, oh, we're the bad guys in this. I don't want to be a part of that. Like, I thought that was cool.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they all go free, and then the movie ends, and there's a post-credits scene or mid-credits scene where you see Weasel is actually still alive. You know,
still has a bomb in the back of his head, but I would assume they would be like, "Oh, he drowned," and they would just deactivate it.
Yeah, there would be no reason to
blow it unless it was like, we can't let anybody know he was here. But I mean, he's a weasel person. You blow his head off, you still got a weasel body.
I mean, theoretically, he's going to just go eat another kid somewhere. Like, I imagine that guy's hungry, so he'd probably just get caught pretty quick. He doesn't seem like he's a smart weasel. So
that would have been kind of an interesting thing if, like, maybe Ratcatcher could control him. Because are they in the same sort of family?
Scientists who are listening.
Yeah, I bet there's a lot of scientists listening to this podcast.
DM us.
Yeah, rats and weasels, how closely related are they?
That'll be our next topic of discussion. And then an end credit sequence.
Yes.
And we see two of the members of Amanda Waller's team going through a hospital, and with the doctor, and the doctor just like, yeah, he barely survived, but we were able to stabilize him. What do you guys need him for? I hear he's a hero, or something like that. And they're just like, oh, well, we need him to save the world. And then you see the Peacemaker is still alive. Which we
did not even say that he died. We didn't even talk about him dying.
Oh, that's true.
It was just, he was going to kill Ratcatcher because she was going to release the information, and Bloodsport shows up and shoots a bullet through his bullet right through his throat.
Mm-hmm. Which would kill anyone.
Sure.
And then on top of that, the building falls on top of him.
Yes.
Which would kill anyone. And it's like, we've seen so many superhero movies where buildings collapse on people and no one, because luckily the whatever caves in properly and they're able to like just squeeze in this little look. And like, granted, that does happen, but I hate that it's like a crutch. It's like, I'm just tired of seeing like buildings collapse and just no one dies.
I mean, if Vin Diesel can survive all of his car crashes in Fast and Furious, I'll believe anybody can live in a superhero movie. Because at least that's a heightened world where Fast and Furious is supposed to be in the real world, I guess. Maybe.
Fine. It's just, it's one thing to just do one thing that would kill a person, but another thing that would kill a person, and it's just like, nope, A-okay, see you in the sequel. It's like, oh, come on. But once again, nitpick.
Yeah.
Call me the nitpicker. That'll be my villain name. I'm the guy on the team who just complains about stuff.
Oh, you really should have aimed for my head. So I only have a few little things I wanted to mention. In the end credits, it said it was filmed in IMAX. Seems like such a waste since most people are probably watching this on their TVs. Mm-hmm. First rated R IMAX.
Oh.
Yeah. So that's cool. I know it was in the trailer as well, so it was kind of ruined, but I think one of my favorite shots is King Shark ripping that dude in half. Mm-hmm. Amazing. And apparently a lot of practical. Like, the body is a practical effect that they added digital goopery and stuff. So it's like, if you're going to have like this lightning strike and a CG character, why not do a CG rip as well? But apparently that was practical.
Oh, okay.
And then my last thing is, it's such a dumb thing, but on the back of Harley's jacket, it says, "Live fast, die clown." Mm-hmm. I just think that's great. It's such a stupid saying, but I love that.
Yeah. And they still had, I think, Daddy's...
She had some of her tattoos.
Little nightmare or something on her chest, or...
But they took off, like, rotten. She had, like, rotten on her jawline.
They definitely cut back on the... But I think they cut back in Birds of Prey, too, right?
I believe so. I'm no movie tattoo expert, but I believe so.
Movie tattoo experts who are listening, DM us.
I'm sure there's tons of videos of just like things noticed in Birds of Prey. Did you notice this tattoo doesn't exist anymore? Yeah.
Cool,
yeah. I mean, hey, when you have to like put out 4 videos a day on like Screen Rant or whatever, you got to do whatever you got.
Last week we talked about posters, and I want to talk to you about the Suicide Squad poster. And really, it's not necessarily about the poster itself. It's just something I think that they keep doing with Harley, and it's just like, have you seen the picture of her? And it's like kind of like an all leather get up, and she's got the goggles on top of her head. I think she has like the big hammer, maybe, or
no,
she has a gun.
She has a bazooka. That's what she wore in the first fight.
Oh, she did wear that outfit?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, that's what she was wearing.
I blanked then because I remember it's like they promoted her in that photo, and then all I remember is like her dress to it, and I was just like, it's kind of a shame that they had. I was just gonna say it's like they showed like these cool outfits of like Harley. It's like they kind of alluded to like the old school Harley in the Suicide Squad movie, or was that? Yeah, it was the Suicide Squad movie, right, where she's dancing with the Joker.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like, oh, and you never see her in like the cooler versions of her outfits. It's just like, here's some skimpy outfit in the first one, and then here's a. I mean, I guess what I liked about this version of Harley is like they didn't really sexualize her in this one.
And I know that was one of her big things. Like, we got to move away, and especially in Birds of Prey. They're like, we're gonna clothe her in stuff that she would want to wear, and whereas like the Daddy's Little Monster T-shirt was maybe more of a Joker aesthetic.
Sure,
you know? I got to look hot for him, even though maybe she was still finding her fashion because her outfits are just nauseating in Birds of Prey. She's just, I like her at the final fight. She's wearing like a pink tube top and like suspenders and like checkered gold pants or something.
Okay.
I don't mind that, but it's like the one that looks like a pom-pom and it's all like, ugh.
Like I said, I wasn't able to finish. I got like 30, 40 minutes in.
Do you think you'll finish it?
It's one of those things where it's like, I would want to start from the beginning because it's been months since I tried. Maybe one day if I'm bored, but like I'm not fiending to watch Birds of Prey. I barely wanted to watch it the day I was watching it.
I enjoyed Birds of Prey. It's just I think it needs a tighter script and better editing, because they do the thing of like, you know, jump forward in the movie and then we jump back and then we jump forward again, jump back, and it's like, you don't need to do this to tell a story. You could have told a story linear and it would have been just fine. And I think maybe it was to break up the monotony or whatever, but the main issue with that movie is it really feels like they have 2 scripts. They have Birds of Prey, which, you know, you have your Batgirl, your Huntress, Black Canary, and then Harley Quinn is there. And then you have your Gotham City Sirens, where you have Catwoman and Poison Ivy, and you want to tell like these 2 stories, the good guy story, the bad guy story, and then maybe eventually you make a 3rd movie where they're fighting each other. But they went, oh, well, we kind of want to save Batman or Batgirl for her own thing, and I don't think we have the rights for Catwoman right now because she's going to be in The Batman. Oh, well, we can't do that. Fuck it, we'll just smush these 2 movies together, and it's a little messy. Could have been better. I would have really liked to see, like, you know, the Bat family going after Harley Quinn, you know, the all female Bat family and associates, and then have Harley and Ivy in a movie for once. Like, I'd really like to see that.
So if you like Birds of Prey, shoot us a DM and let us know what you thought.
Alright, so would you recommend this to someone?
Yes. Okay. But I would recommend it in a way that, like, I feel like it's a movie that most people in general are probably gonna want. Like, it's like not a movie I'd recommend to someone 50 and over.
Oh yeah, don't take grandma.
Yeah, or like, is this? And I mean, clearly it's R, so you don't want to like pitch it to kids or whatever. But like, I think it's just one of those movies that, in general, people wouldn't find any fault in, but it's not a movie I'd say, like, it's a must-see, but it's a movie I'd be like, yeah, if you liked anything that's come out in the past 15 years, you're going to like this movie, probably. If you like Deadpool, if you like superheroes, it's that realm.
Where would you rank it in the DCEU? What do you, of all their movies, what's better?
I mean, So the new stuff, we're not including like Batman '89.
No Christopher Reeve, Superman, no Steel.
Gotcha.
Okay, if you want to put in Steel, you can put in Steel. Right. If you love Steel that much.
So Steel number 1.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, honestly, I would love to see a Steel sequel, like out of nowhere, like bring back Shaq and make him like Old Man Logan style. I think we might have talked about this before.
I don't know.
Yeah, if I want to see an Old Man Logan like Steel movie, but I guess it's at the top just because it is fun, and I think for the most part captures the essence of what the Suicide Squad was supposed to be. I mean, I enjoy Man of Steel more than most people, but other than that, like I'm trying to think of like other DC, like Aquaman was fun.
Shazam, Wonder Woman.
I didn't like Shazam as much as I like Shazam's fine. It's an enjoyable movie. I wasn't like in love with it though.
That one I've come around a lot on.
I think Wonder Woman's overrated.
No, Wonder Woman is just a solid movie. It
is solid.
Nail the ending.
Yeah,
I think it leaves a bad taste in the mouth, but everything up to that is pretty good. It's a good origin story.
So they're all perfectly adequate movies for the most part. I'd say this is probably the best DC EU movie so far, but only because it's fun, not because I think it's a great film.
Okay. Yeah, I definitely don't think it's hard to become the best DCEU movie. Yeah. But yeah, this is definitely my number 1. I would put Wonder Woman and Shazam and Aquaman in like this. That's top 4.
Yeah.
Everything else is like, Man of Steel is fine for parts. BVS is garbage. Suicide Squad's garbage. Justice League is garbage. What's the worst? What's the worst of all of them?
I really need to see a list. Probably Justice League.
Yeah.
Because there's a bunch of moments in that movie where I like was rolling my eyes. They're going like, what even is this? And it's a super long movie, and it feels super long.
Are you talking about like Snyder Cut Justice League?
No,
Okay, the Whedon cut.
Yeah, the Whedon cut. I have not seen the Snyder cut. I have no desire to see the Snyder cut.
That's insane.
I
mean, it's insane to want to watch a 4-hour movie by a hack, but it's so much better. Like, Justice League is the worst one, and Zack Snyder's Justice League is one of the best ones.
And I am sure you're 100% accurate with that assumption.
Well, prove me wrong. Go watch it and prove me wrong.
I just don't care. I'd like to. I've seen every other DC movie, but I just don't care.
Yeah.
4 hours in chapter form, and and everyone I've talked to says it's better and is more coherent, but it's still like not great. And I just don't want to see a 4-hour not great movie, especially with a bunch of scenes that I have seen before.
And that totally makes sense. But there is so much more of it that seeing some of those scenes is not a problem, and they're edited in such a different way that they feel fresh.
Cool.
It's worth your time. But yeah, Justice League is the worst. And I would say Suicide Squad original is like close second to worst. That's a bad movie. And I don't care if they do an air cut, but I'd watch it, because I'm a glutton for punishment. But if he says he had such a beautiful story and blah 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 blah, I'd watch it. But it's a bad movie.
Yeah. And well, just real quick, who were like all the people on the team? Like, I know it was Killer Croc, which like I just want to see a Killer Croc how like he's done in either the Arkham games or I want to see like a big giant Croc man, not like a dude.
And it's funny because they were going to use King Shark in the first one, but they're like, to do this justice, it would have to be a CG character, and we don't really have the money for it. So let's go to Killer Croc, do a prosthetic thing, and it's like, thank God.
Yeah, I mean, I like prosthetics, but
absolutely.
And I don't think he looks necessarily bad. It's
just
like
won the Oscar for best makeup.
Oh my God, that's right.
It beats Star Trek Beyond. And that movie had like a ton of crazy aliens and shit.
Suicide Squad is an Oscar-winning
movie. It's an Oscar-winning movie.
And that was... So they're the first... They beat Marvel to an Oscar.
Yeah, Marvel doesn't have one.
No, Black Panther has like 6.
Oh.
But...
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Huh, look at that.
I didn't realize. I know that.
Take that, James Gunn, Suicide Squad.
I know, like, Black Panther was like their. I don't know. I feel like they felt obligated to put Black Panther in just because it's like a culturally important movie, but it wasn't an award movie at all.
Well, the awards it won, I think, deserved.
I could say costuming and set and maybe music, but like
those are like the
those
ones.
are what. Okay,
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. Because if it was like special effects, like no, even
I don't remember I don't think it won special effects. I could be wrong about that, but yeah, like costuming was great, music's great, and set design was all cool. Like the awards it won, like it made sense to me that why they won. Like being nominated for Best Picture in general, like. Come on.
It's like when they nominated District 9. It was like, I love that movie.
Yeah.
But what? You're really good putting this up for?
I mean, I think that was a weak year for movies in general, and that was the first year they did it.
10.
They did 10, and I think they wanted to put some like bigger budget movie because like the only reason I think they made that was because like Dark Knight wasn't nominated, and so like all right, well Dark Knight is the reason people watch the Oscars in general. So let's put it, but like
we'll put
District
it in.
9 to
6.
me makes more sense as a Best Picture nominee than
Black Panther. Yes, it has something to say.
Yeah, there's merits to District 9.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there's merits to Black Panther in terms of like culturally as a movie.
Yeah.
But not as filmmaking to me.
Yeah, I agree.
So Ryan Coogler, if you got a problem,
don't add us.
Don't add us. We got the hot takes over here at WHIRLPOOL, baby. You'll get sucked right in.
All right, so I think that's it for the day. You can catch us on Twitter at WRPL Podcast, or if you would like to send us an email with questions or comments or suggestions on what you want to hear us babble on about, that's WRPLpodcast@gmail.com. All right, see you guys later.